Right, so as John said, we are continuing looking at our unsung heroes. And I have the very, very best unsung hero today for you. Are you ready for it? It's Miriam! No, I'm not blowing my own trumpet. There is a Miriam in the Bible. I was named after her. And she was Moses' sister. And she played a very important role in making sure that Moses stayed alive and, importantly, knowed God. So, I'm going to start with telling you our story. And kids, there's going to be some pictures, particularly for you guys, on the screen. So you can watch and listen along. So our story comes from Exodus 2, 1 to 10. So it starts with a new Pharaoh. And he came to power and he looked a little bit mean, like in that photo. It's not a photo, is it? It's a drawing, but anyway. He noticed that Jacob's descendants, the Hebrews, were getting bigger and bigger. There were loads of them. And then he became a little bit afraid that because there were so many of them, that they would be overturn him and his power. So he made them slaves on his many, many building projects. The thing was, they still kept growing, and he was still afraid, so he told the midwives to go and kill all the new he-born babies. Boo! Big boos. But they refused, and so then he ordered his soldiers to go and throw every son who'd been born to a Hebrew into the Nile, but you could leave the daughters alive. Your safe days, it's fine. Even bigger boos. Thank you. And then there was one woman who gave birth to a son called Moses, and she managed to hide him for 3 whole months. Now, I think that's very impressive because my babies were definitely quite loud and still are, for that matter. But then the time came when she couldn't hide him any longer. So she made a basket from reeds and covered it with tar to make it waterproof, and then she put the baby in it and then floated it into the Nile. She was pretty desperate. And now our hero comes into the story. Her daughter Miriam, Moses' sister, went to the side of the river and waited. She stayed nearby and she watched and she waited and she kept guard over him. She had no idea what was going to happen or what she would do. But she waited and she watched. And then a princess, one of Pharaoh's daughters, came by and thought, I'll go for a little swim and a wash in the river. And then she saw the basket from the riverbank. And she went in and she pulled out this little boat, opened it up. And there was Moses crying. This touched her heart. He must be one of the Hebrew children, she said. Miriam was still there, watching and waiting. And then she realized now was the moment she had to act. She jumped up. She ran to Pharaoh's daughter. Shall I go and find one of the Hebrew women to raise the baby for you, she said. Yes, please do, said Pharaoh's daughter. So Miriam rushed home to get her mum. The Pharaoh's daughter said to Moses' mother, take home this child, look after it, bring it up, nurse it. I'll pay you well. So she took him home and looked after him. Because Miriam waited and watched, and when the moment God spoke, she followed, she acted. Moses was able to grow up knowing his family. But that meant they taught him who God was. And then later, Moses goes on to rescue all of the Hebrew people and take them out of Egypt. So there we have it, the story of our unsung hero, Miriam, who waited, who watched, and who acted. Now, We often had to wait for things. I mean, we had to wait for a minute early on. And there was definitely different levels of patience or lack of. And sometimes we're waiting for something when we know it was going to happen. Think your birthday or think Christmas. We know when it's going to be, and we're waiting. And actually, we're often quite busy preparing. I know that for Christmas, I have at least 2 spreadsheets. I have quite a busy baking schedule the week before, but maybe that's just because we had 21 people. But I'm busy. But other times we're waiting, and we don't quite know what for, and we don't quite know when it's going to happen. I feel like God's told me to change jobs, but I don't know when, and I don't know what job. But what I know is I should be waiting, watching, and being ready to act. I should be using the time like I do at Christmas to be ready. So, back to Miriam, our hero. She didn't know what God was going to call her to do when she went to that river. But she didn't just sit there. She didn't just put her head back and have a little nap. She waited and she watched. She was paying attention, and she was then ready for the moment when God said to act. And that is how God is calling each and every one of us to live. To wait, to watch, and to act. Now, to help illustrate this, I have got 2 helpers. Come on, my little helpers. Right. Noella, sweetheart, could you just move to the side? Otherwise, you're going to get clobbered. And Lucas, I think you need to slightly move out the aisle. So these are my 2 helpers. This is Eli, my eldest, and this is Judah, my youngest. Now, boys, I want you to run a race to the cafe table. Okay? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready, Jude? Ready? Ready? Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go! Go, Jude! Go! Go! And he's still going. Which one of my children was ready? Eli. Which one wasn't paying attention? That is by no means a comment on what they are like in real life. It definitely is. No, they're wonderful. Thank you, boys. You can come back and sit down. Oh, he's lying on the floor. Well done, boys. Oh, and we take a tumble on the way back. And that's my Judah. And so this is a picture of what God is wanting and how God is wanting us to live our life. We need to be like Eli. He was paused, he was ready, he was paying attention. And then when I said go, he went. Unlike Judah, who was lying back and having a bit of a sleep. And band, if you want to come up. So whether you're waiting for something and you know when it is going to happen, or whether you're waiting for something that you've longed or hoped for, or a promise you feel God has given you, but you just don't know when it's going to happen, we need to be like Miriam. We should wait. We should be praying to him. We should be preparing ourselves. We need to trust in him even when it's hard, because nothing feels like it's happening. We should be watching. We should notice what's happening around us. Miriam noticed Pharaoh's daughter arrive. And we should be listening, but importantly expecting that God at some point will speak. And it's so often a whisper. And then we should act. We should be ready to serve others. We should be ready to be bold. And we should be ready to obey, because God will speak. We celebrated the baptism of Daisy. Now, she won't remember today because she's really little. But her parents have made a promise to help Daisy know Jesus. They're in a period of waiting for that to happen for Daisy herself. But just like Miriam, they should be waiting and praying for Daisy, watching, noticing when she's asking questions, what she's thinking, what's God saying for them as their family, and acting, reading the Bible, and when she's asking those questions, sharing their faith. We could wait like a lazy Judah, or we could wait like a ready Eli. Where is God asking you to wait, to watch, and to act this morning? So we're going to pray in response. So first off, I'd like you to put out your hands. These are our hands as a sign of waiting. Jesus, help us to wait well. Help us to keep praying to you, to be prepared and to trust in you when it feels like nothing is happening. And now I want you to put your hand over your eyes like you're you're watching. Jesus, help me to watch when I wait, to notice those small things that are happening around me and to listen, expecting you to speak. And now let's stand up as a sign of act. Jesus, help me to act. Help me to serve others. Help me to be bold. Help me to obey that call when I hear your voice and to act. Jesus, speak to every one of us now and let us know where you want us to wait, watch, and act. And let's do a big kids' church amen. Amen. So we have some little wait, watch, act cards. There's some at the back. There's some at the two sides. I pointed totally wrong. Some at the back. There's some at the front. And then there's some at the two sides. So feel free to get one of those, stick it on your fridge, stick it where some of your seeds to remind you to wait, to watch, and to act. We are going to continue to worship, but we also have a prayer arch where we stuck some of our post-it notes. If you are... God's talking to you about where you need to wait, where you need to watch, where you need to act. If God's challenging you this morning, please go over to that side and someone will be ready to pray with you.